At my sister's 300-guest wedding, Mom lifted her glass and asked when it would be my turn. I answered without smiling. 8 months ago, you were invited. Your favorite daughter threw my invitation in the trash. We were standing in a ballroom, so bright it almost hurt to look at it. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls, sparkling above the tables. Everything about the place screamed expensive. The flowers were huge and perfect, like they had been copied from a magazine. The napkins were folded into fancy shapes. The chairs had gold frames. Even the water glasses looked like they cost more than my monthly groceries. It was the kind of wedding where every corner was made for photos, and every detail was designed to impress people who already had too much. My sister Bella loved that world. She lived for it. She belonged in it the way some people belong on a stage. She was wearing an $18,000 Vera Wang gown that hugged her like it had been sewn directly onto her body. Her hair was styled in smooth waves, shiny and flawless, falling over her shoulders. Her makeup looked natural but perfect, the kind of natural that takes an hour and an expert to create. She looked like a bride from a luxury brand ad. I stood out, not because I looked terrible, but because I looked normal. I was wearing a simple dress, something nice but not dramatic. I was there as a guest, not a bridesmaid, not family in any real way, even though my last name matched theirs on paper. Bella had made sure of that. She had smiled sweetly when she told me the bridal party was already full. She had said it like it was just a small planning problem, like I would understand. So I sat at a table near the edge of the room, under the bright lights, surrounded by people who mostly did not know me. Some of them recognized my face because of Bella. They knew me as Bella's older sister, the one she sometimes mentioned online like a side character in her story. A few people gave me polite smiles. A few gave me that look people give when they think they're being kind, the look that says, I feel sorry for you, even if I do not know why. The string quartet played in the corner, soft music floating above the clinking plates and the low hum of 100 conversations. Servers moved like shadows with trays of champagne. Bella's friends kept pulling her into photos. Her new husband Preston had the same smooth smile in every picture, like he had practiced it. And then my mother decided to make her moment. She stood up at her table near the front. My father sat beside her, already tense, already uncomfortable. He always got that way when attention shifted toward anything that might become emotional. My mother lifted her champagne glass and smiled toward me. A smile that looked caring if you did not know her well. If you did know her, you could see the pattern. It was the smile she used when she wanted to correct me in public while pretending she was helping. Her voice carried across the room because people were already watching. She said my name, Caroline, in the slow, soft way she used when she wanted to sound gentle. Then she asked, so when is it going to be your turn? There was a pause, the kind of pause you feel in your bones. Not full silence, not yet. The music kept going, faint and careful. Forks tapped plates. Someone coughed, but the area around us went still. People nearby stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. A few guests leaned closer, hungry for whatever was about to happen. In that moment, I saw everything at once. I saw my mother's expression, that mix of pity and concern she had perfected over the years, as if my life was a problem she had been forced to manage. I saw my father avoiding my eyes, already wishing he could disappear. I saw Bella at the head table, glowing, surrounded by attention, the center of everything like always. I saw the screens beside the head table, still showing Bella's engagement photos, her perfect face, her perfect laugh, her perfect life. And I felt something inside me settle into place. Not anger, not heat. Something colder, something clear. I answered in a calm voice. 8 months ago, you were invited. All of you were invited. But your favorite daughter threw the invitation in the trash. This time the quiet turned real. The music from the string quartet seemed to fade, not because they stopped playing, but because nobody was listening anymore. The room froze in a strange way. People stopped chewing. A server paused mid-step. A chair creaked somewhere, and the sound felt too loud. Bella's champagne glass stopped halfway to her lips. Her eyes snapped toward me, wide for a second, then sharp. She spoke fast. You're lying. Her voice was tight, like she was trying to cut the air. Then she added, you're just jealous and you want to ruin my day. My mother's smile wobbled. She looked between Bella and me as if she was watching a fight she did not understand. Caroline, sweetheart, what are you talking about? We never got any invitation. You never told us you were getting married. I nodded once. February 12th, FedEx overnight delivery. Signature required. For invitation boxes. Velvet, custom calligraphy, ivory ribbons. Bella signed for it at 10:15 in the morning. My father pushed back his chair, standing up too fast. His face turned red, the way it always did right before he started shouting. If you sent something and we did not respond, why did you not call us? Why did you not follow up? You expect us to believe you got married without your family and never said anything. I looked at him and answered honestly. Because I trusted my family. The word trusted caught in my throat, but I forced it out anyway. I told them what I had never said out loud in front of other people. I waited 30 minutes at my ceremony. I stood there in my dress and stared at the empty seats in the front row that I'd saved for you. I painted little wooden signs with your names on them. My mother blinked, confused, as if she could not imagine me doing something like that. I kept going. Mom, I decorated your sign with daisies. You mentioned once at Thanksgiving, 7 years ago, that you liked daisies. I remembered. Dad, yours had a tiny golf club painted on it because you always talked about teaching me, even though you never did. Bella, yours had a small camera because I thought you want to film content because that is what matters to you. I swallowed hard. My voice stayed steady, but my chest felt tight. I told them my dress was not designer. It was from David's Bridal because I am an architect, not an influencer. I said it plainly. I did not say it to insult Bella. I said it because it was the truth. My life was different. My life was quieter. My life did not come with a spotlight. And still, I had waited. I had waited because part of me still wanted to believe my family would show up. Nate's family was there. They watched me watch the door. His mother Patricia kept whispering if she should call my parents. I kept saying no, they are probably just late. I kept lying to protect people who were not even there. That is what I had done for years. Protect them. Excuse them. Shrink myself so their choices would not look so cruel. It had been like that for 6 years, ever since I finished my architecture degree at the University of Texas and moved to Austin. Not Dallas. Not close to them. Not close to Bella's world. No one said it out loud, but everyone understood it. Staying near them meant staying under Bella. Staying in her shadow. Being compared to her every time we walked into a room. Being treated like the backup option while she was the main story. Bella was 3 years younger than me. I was 31. She was 28. But she had always been the golden child. She was beautiful in a way that pulled attention like gravity. She was confident. She was loud. She was the person my parents bragged about. She had millions of followers. At the time of the wedding, she had around 2.3 million on Instagram. She had brand partnerships with big names like Glossier and Revolve and other companies that sent her boxes of free products and paid her to post photos of herself holding them. She made around $400,000 a year doing that. She called it her authentic journey. She said it with a straight face that I made $89,000 a year designing homes and commercial spaces. It was good money, honest money, respectable money. It was the kind of career that builds real things. But it was not flashy. It did not come with free vacations or designer handbags or magazine features. It did not make our parents light up the way Bella's world did. I told the room what I had learned long before I became an adult. I knew I was second place when I was 7. Bella got praise for her smile. I got told to stand still. When I was 12, Bella got the lead in the school play. I got asked to paint the sets because I was good at art and it would be helpful. When I turned 16, Bella got a party with 200 guests, music, decorations, photos. When I turned 16, I got dinner at Olive Garden. When I was 23, I graduated summa cum laude. I got a card in the mail. Bella posted her first viral video, and my parents threw her a surprise party with a live DJ, like she had won an award for saving the world. I told myself it did not matter. I told myself I was the mature one, the independent one, the one who did not need constant validation. Then I met Nate. His full name is Nathan Vance. He works as a cybersecurity analyst. He is kind in a way that is not loud. He pays attention. He remembers small things. He remembers how you take your coffee. He remembers what makes you nervous. He never made me feel small for not being extraordinary. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. There was no crowd, no ring light, no sponsored post. It was just us on a camping trip in Big Bend under the stars. He asked if I wanted to spend our lives together. I said yes, and I meant it with my whole heart. And then I made a mistake. I thought my family might care. I spent $400 on invitation boxes, handmade by a small business in Austin. They were velvet-lined, with custom calligraphy. Each one held a formal invitation printed on thick paper, a details card with the venue address and time, and a handwritten note from me. I wrote my mother a note that said I wanted her there, that I knew we had not been close lately, but this day would mean everything to me. I told her I loved her. I wrote my father a note asking if he would walk me down the aisle. I told him I had dreamed of that moment since I was little. I asked him to please come. I wrote Bella a note asking if she would be my maid of honor, if she was willing. I told her she was my only sister. I told her I missed her. I spent 3 hours on those notes. I tried to be honest without sounding desperate, loving without sounding pathetic. I hated that I had to think about it like that, like love was a negotiation. I sent the boxes by FedEx overnight delivery. Signature required. I wanted proof they arrived. I was giving them 6 weeks notice. Plenty of time to plan. Plenty of time to fly to Austin if they actually wanted to. The wedding date was March 29th. It was a small ceremony at a botanical garden in Austin. 50 guests. Nate's family, our friends, co-workers, college roommates. Simple, but beautiful. I designed the ceremony arch myself. A wooden frame covered in climbing jasmine. The smell was sweet and soft. The garden paths were lined with greenery. The air felt warm and alive. I reserved 4 seats in the front row. I decorated them with the wooden name signs. I set out programs that had reserved for Montgomery family printed on them. And I waited. The ceremony was scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning. At 10 o'clock, none of the Montgomerys were there. At 10:15, Patricia squeezed my hand and asked if we should wait longer. I nodded. At 10:23, the officiant asked quietly if we wanted to start. I shook my head. At 10:30, I texted my mother. Running late. Ceremony starting soon. No response. At 10:31, I called her. Straight to voicemail. At 10:33, I called my father. Voicemail. At 10:34, I called Bella. She answered like nothing was wrong. Her voice sounded distracted. She asked what I needed. I told her my wedding was about to start. There was a pause. Then she said, coming to what? My wedding, I repeated. I sent you an invitation. You signed for it 3 weeks ago. Another pause, longer this time. Then her voice changed, like she had decided to stop pretending. She said she was busy. She had a photo shoot for a new skincare line. She said sorry, she could not make it. And then she hung up. That was it. Not even a full conversation. Just a quick dismissal, like my wedding was an annoying reminder that I existed. At 10:38, I started walking down the aisle. I was supposed to be walking on my father's arm. I was supposed to have my parents smiling at me from the front row. I was supposed to have my sister there. Instead, I walked alone for the first steps because my feet felt heavy and my throat felt like it was closing. Then Nate's father stepped forward. He saw what was happening and did not let me be alone. He offered me his arm. I took it because I could not hold myself up anymore, not emotionally, not in that moment. I cried through the entire ceremony. Not happy tears, not cute tears, devastated tears, tears that made my face ache, tears that made it hard to breathe. But I married Nate anyway, because he was worth it, because he had shown up, his family had shown up, and I refused to let my family's absence steal the one good thing in front of me. Afterward, people hugged me. They told me I was strong. They told me I looked beautiful. Nate's mother kept saying she was so sorry. I kept nodding like I was listening, but I felt like my heart had been scraped raw. For 8 months after that, I carried a quiet ache. I told myself my family did not come because they did not know. I told myself maybe the package was lost. Maybe there had been a mistake. Maybe Bella never got it. Maybe my mother was telling the truth when she said she would have come that a part of me knew better. But denial is a powerful thing when the truth hurts too much. Then Bella invited me to her wedding. Not warmly, not like a sister, more like an obligation. I got a formal invitation like everyone else. No handwritten note, no apology, nothing that acknowledged what happened in March. I decided to go anyway, not because I wanted to celebrate Bella, but because I wanted closure, because I was tired of being the one who swallowed everything, and because I had found something 3 weeks before Bella's wedding that made the truth impossible to ignore. Back at the reception, my mother was shaking her head, still trying to make the story fit into her version of reality. She said there must have been a mistake. She said mail gets lost. She said packages get stolen. She said I could not possibly believe they would miss my wedding on purpose. I looked her in the eye and said that is exactly what I believed. And I said I had proof. Preston leaned forward from beside Bella. He was Bella's new husband, married for maybe 6 hours at that point. He was a corporate attorney at Sterling and Associates. He looked polished and controlled, the kind of man who was trained to listen for weak points in a story. He asked what kind of proof. I pulled out my phone. 6 years earlier, when my parents renovated their Dallas house, I had helped design the electrical and security systems. I am an architect, and I understood how the systems would work. They wanted a smart home, full integration, cameras, network recorder, long-term storage. I helped set it up. I knew the structure, the access, the admin account. I told the room something my parents did not want to admit. The admin password had never been changed. I had told them to change it. Twice. Once in 2019, again in 2021, through email. They never did. Because they never listened to me. Even practical things. Even when it mattered. The system had been sending weekly backup reports to my email. I had ignored them for years. I did not care enough to look. But 3 weeks earlier, I had been designing a security system for a client. It reminded me of my old work. I remembered I still had access. Nate, being a cybersecurity analyst, helped me log into the archived footage remotely. It was legal. It was my system design. I had never formally given up my admin rights. Nobody had asked me to. Nobody cared enough to think about it. I turned my phone so Preston could see the screen. I told him the timestamp. February 12th, 2024, 10:14 in the morning. Bella's face started to drain of color. She knew exactly what I was about to show. She whispered that I was bluffing. I did not answer her. I pressed play. On the screen, the front door camera showed the driveway. A FedEx truck pulled up. The driver stepped out in uniform holding a blue and white package. He walked to the front door and rang the bell. Bella opened the door. She was wearing black yoga pants and an oversized hoodie. Her hair was in a messy bun. No makeup. No filters. No perfect lighting. Just Bella, real and ordinary, the version she never showed online. She signed the driver's tablet and accepted the package. Then she looked down at the label. I watched her mouth move as she read the names. Caroline and Nate Vance. Her expression shifted. 1 second neutral, the next cold. Not confused. Not surprised. Cold, like she had decided something. She glanced around, checking if anyone inside the house could see her. Then she walked to the side yard where the recycling bins sat behind decorative lattice. She did not hesitate. She did not pause. She did not look guilty. She opened the blue recycling bin and threw the package in like it was garbage, like my wedding invitation was trash. Then she turned and walked back inside, pulling out her phone, smiling at something on the screen as if nothing important had happened. The video ended. The room did not breathe. For a moment, it felt like the whole ballroom had turned to stone. Guests stared at Bella. Some stared at me. Some stared at Preston like they were waiting for him to decide what this meant. Preston's face went blank, the careful blank lawyers use when they're processing a fact that changes everything. He turned toward Bella slowly and said, "You threw your sister's wedding invitation in the trash." Bella's mouth opened. She tried to speak. She started with a shaky excuse, something about how I was jealous, how I always wanted attention, how I was trying to ruin her day. Preston did not raise his voice. That was the worst part. His tone stayed controlled, quiet, sharp. He said she did it because she could not handle anyone else having a moment that was not about her. Bella reached for him. She begged him to understand. She begged him not to do this here, not in front of everyone. He said he understood perfectly. Then he reminded her of the gift she had given me that night. Bella had handed me a wrapped present earlier, making a big performance in front of her friends. She announced loudly that since I was still single, she thought this might help. Her friends laughed. People nearby laughed politely. When I opened it, it was a book titled How to Die Alone. Pink cover. Cartoon of a sad woman with cats. A cruel joke disguised as humor. I had smiled and said thank you. I put in my purse. I did not react because I had been saving my moment. Preston stared at Bella and said that gift was not a joke. It was planned. She knew I was married. She knew because she had destroyed the invitation. She knew and still chose to humiliate me. He brought up Christmas. He said he had watched Bella tell everyone at dinner that I would end up alone with cats. He said he had watched Bella post online about how sad it was that her older sister could not find anyone. And the whole time, Bella knew I was already a wife. My mother tried to intervene. She told Preston not to be hasty. She said Bella made a mistake. She said we could fix it. Preston cut her off with a single word. A mistake. Then he did something that made the air in the room turn electric. He took off his wedding ring. It was a platinum band, expensive and shining. He had been wearing it for exactly 6 hours and 40-something minutes. He placed it on the table with a deliberate click. That tiny sound echoed through the microphone system because the room was still using the audio setup for speeches. Preston looked at my mother and told her daughter was cruel. Not accidentally cruel. Deliberately cruel. Calculatedly cruel. He said he would not spend his life with someone who hurt other people for sport. Bella's face crumpled. Mascara started to run. She begged him again. She said she loved him. He said she did not love anyone but herself. Then he stepped back from the head table. His father, Harrison Sterling, stood up beside him. Harrison was a tall man in his 60s with that old money posture, the kind of calm confidence that comes from always having power. He looked at my father with pure disappointment. He said, "Richard, that merger project we discussed, the Fort Worth commercial development, consider it canceled. Sterling Group does not do business with families that lack integrity." My father's face went pale. He looked like someone had punched him. I knew what that deal was. He had talked about it for months, bragging about it like it was the prize he deserved. A $50 million mixed-use development. The deal he said would set him up for retirement and make him truly wealthy. My father tried to speak. He tried to pull Harrison aside. He said they could talk privately. He called it a family matter. Harrison answered coldly. It affects everything. He said Bella's behavior spoke to character and values, and those things affect business. He told Preston to get his things and leave. And just like that, Bella's perfect day cracked in half. Bella whipped her head toward me like a cornered animal. Her voice climbed toward hysteria. She screamed that it was my fault. She said I ruined her, explained. She threatened me with social media. She reminded me she had millions of followers. She said she would destroy me online. I did not raise my voice. I interrupted her calmly and said federal mail tampering. I explained it in simple terms so everyone could understand. Interfering with delivery of mail is a federal crime under Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1708, punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison. I said the package was sent via FedEx, which operates under federal regulations. I said she signed for it, acknowledged receipt, and then destroyed it. Then I gave her a choice. I told her if she posted even once about me, if she tried to twist the story, that footage would go to the police, to FedEx investigation, and to every sponsor she worked with. Glossier, Revolve, Sephora, all of them. I said we would see how many brands wanted to be linked to someone facing federal charges. My mother gasped and asked if I would really do that. I said yes. And then I told them what those 8 months had been like. I told them I waited 30 minutes at my ceremony. I told them I cried through the entire thing. I told them I spent 8 months thinking I was not worth their time. Not worth their love. Not worth a single day away from Dallas. And the whole time, Bella knew exactly why they did not come. I picked up my purse, the same purse that held Bella's cruel gift book. I looked at the ballroom, the chandeliers, the guests still staring, the screens now dark, the head table shaking with panic. I told Bella to enjoy what was left of her wedding night. Then I walked out. The last image I saw was Bella collapsed in her chair sobbing, Preston walking away with his father, and 300 guests standing in absolute silence, caught between discomfort and fascination. The aftermath came fast. By the next morning, the video had leaked. I never posted it. I never sent it to anyone outside that room. But someone recorded it from their seat, filmed the screen, and uploaded it to TikTok. By Monday morning, it had millions of views. At one point, it hit around 4.7 million. The comments were brutal. People called Bella evil. People called her a sociopath. People pointed out how she threw the invitation away without even stopping. People could not believe she gave me that book after doing it. People praised Preston for leaving. Bella's Instagram became a disaster. Her comments filled with angry messages on every post, even old ones. People told her she was trash. They said her followers deserve better. They said sponsors should drop her. Within 48 hours, she lost hundreds of thousands of followers. Around 340,000 disappeared like air. Within a week, major brands paused their partnerships. Some made public statements. Glossier dropped her. Revolve quietly removed her from their affiliate program. Other brands stopped tagging her or scrubbed her from campaigns. My mother called me nonstop, 63 times in 3 days. I did not answer. She left voicemails crying, begging, explaining she did not know. She said Bella told them I had eloped and did not want them there. She said it was a misunderstanding. My father sent emails. He tried to sound calm and reasonable. He talked about the Sterling deal falling through. He talked about how Bella was going through something and needed support. He told me I was being cruel for not accepting their apologies. On the fourth day, a FedEx package arrived at my house in Austin. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a typed note on my father's business letterhead. The note said he was sorry for everything and that the money should help make up for what they missed. Then it said, "Please do not share any more videos or information about the family. The Sterling situation has damaged my business, and we need this to go away quietly." I stood in my kitchen holding the check and felt something inside me finally break cleanly. He was not apologizing because he missed my wedding. He was not apologizing for believing Bella. He was not apologizing for years of making me invisible. He was trying to buy my silence. So I tore the check into pieces. Small pieces. Confetti-sized pieces. I laid them out neatly on the counter like an art project. Then I took a photo and sent it to the Montgomery family group chat. I typed, "I do not sell my silence. I'm giving it to you for free. Do not contact me again." Then I left the group chat. 2 weeks later, Bella created a burner account to message me. She begged. She said she was sorry. She said everything was falling apart. She said she lost half her followers. She said she lost brand deals. She said Preston would not talk to her. She said mom was on antidepressants. She said dad's business was suffering. She asked me to tell people it was a misunderstanding. She promised she would do anything. I read it twice. Then I blocked the account. My therapist, Dr. Rebecca Hang, had warned me this would happen. She had 15 years of experience, specializing in family trauma, and she understood patterns better than I did. She told me people who hurt you often come back for forgiveness when they face consequences. She told me that does not mean they changed. It means they are uncomfortable now. I told her I did not know if I could forgive them. She said I did not have to. She told me forgiveness is optional. Healing is not. So I chose healing. I blocked my parents' numbers. I changed my email address for everything except work. I made my social media private. I built walls between their chaos and my peace. 3 months later, on New Year's Eve, Nate and I spent the holiday with his family in Seattle. His parents rented a house with a view of the water. You could see the city lights in the distance. At one point, you could even see the Space Needle, tiny but bright. The house was crowded in the best way. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. 23 people in one space, cooking together, bumping into each other, laughing, playing board games, arguing gently over rules, sharing stories. Nobody looked at me like I was a problem to solve. Nobody asked why I was not famous. Nobody made jokes at my expense. Before midnight, Patricia pulled me aside. She was wearing a sapphire brooch that had belonged to her grandmother. A real family heirloom, passed down through 4 generations. She took it off and tried to pin it to my dress. I told her I could not accept it. I said it was too important. She interrupted me and said I was family. She said I had been family since the day I married her son. Then she added, "Honestly, you were family even before that, from the first time Nate brought you home and you spent 3 hours helping his father fix the deck without anyone asking you." She pinned the brooch over my heart. I felt the weight of it, not just the stone and metal, but the meaning, love given freely, not as a performance, not as a transaction, not to impress anyone. Later, when fireworks lit up the sky, Nate asked if I had any regrets. I thought about the empty chairs at my wedding, the 30 minutes I waited, the way my phone shook in my hand as I called and got nothing but voicemail, the way Bella laughed and hung up on me, the cruel book in my purse, the way Preston's ring clicked against the table, the way my father's face went pale when the deal died. I said not one. Nate kissed me when the countdown hit midnight, and I realized something I had not felt around my own family in years. I felt safe. 6 months after Bella's wedding, I got an email from Preston Sterling's lawyer. Not from Preston. The lawyer explained the divorce was finalized. Bella signed without contesting. Preston paid her $75,000 to walk away, quietly, and sign an NDA that prevented her from speaking publicly about the marriage or the divorce. The email said Preston wanted me to know the video, gave him clarity about who he had married. It said he was grateful he learned the truth before he invested more time. It said he wished me and my husband well. I showed the email to Nate. He read it twice, then asked if I felt vindicated. I told him no. I said I felt sad. Sad for all of us. Sad for the family we could have been if anyone had cared enough to show up, enough to call, enough to ask one honest question. Nate wrapped his arms around me and said it was their loss. Completely their loss. Bella tried to fix her image after the scandal. She posted a carefully worded apology, full of vague phrases about making mistakes and growing and being human. She did not mention me. She did not admit what she did. She did not take responsibility. It was just soft language designed to calm people down. Her followers did not buy it. The comments stayed brutal. People demanded real accountability. People asked why she never said my name. People asked why she never apologized directly. People asked how someone could be so cruel and still pretend it was a simple mistake. Eventually, she deleted the post. Then she deleted her entire Instagram account. She started over with a new handle, new branding, tried to rebuild from a tiny audience. Around 47,000 followers instead of millions. Last I heard from mutual acquaintances, she was working as a social media manager for a small boutique in Dallas, making about $45,000 a year. She moved back in with our parents because she could not afford her lifestyle anymore. My father's business survived, but it changed. The Sterling deal was dead. He found other partners, smaller projects, less prestigious opportunities. He lived, but he never stopped resenting what happened. Not because he missed my wedding, because he missed the money. My mother sent me a birthday card that year. No return address, but I recognized her handwriting. Inside was a simple note. She said she was sorry she did not come to my wedding. She said she was sorry she did not believe me. She said she understood if I never wanted to speak to her again, but she wanted me to know she thought about me every day. I held the card for a long time and did not write back. I still do not know if I ever will. Dr. Hang says that is okay. She says I get to decide what forgiveness looks like, what relationship looks like, what family means. She says I am allowed to build a new definition with people who actually show up. And I have. Nate's family throws me birthday parties. They remember my favorite foods. They ask about my projects and listen to the answers. Patricia texts me pictures of her garden and asks for design advice on the gazebo she wants to build. Nate's father sends me articles about architecture he thinks I will like. His grandparents hug me like I have always belonged. It is not the family I was born into, but it is the family I chose, and sometimes that is better. One night, about a year after all of it, Nate and I had dinner with his parents. Patricia asked about our plans for the future. Nate squeezed my hand and said we were thinking about kids, maybe in a year or two. Patricia's face lit up. She asked if we had thought about names. We had. We talked about it for months. If it was a girl, we wanted to name her Patricia, after the woman who treated me like a daughter when my own mother did not. If it was a boy, we wanted to name him James, after Nate's grandfather who passed away 2 years earlier. I told Patricia we wanted our kids named after people who showed up, people who were there when it mattered. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. She reached across the table and held my hand. She promised our children would be loved, surrounded by family who would show up for every moment. And I believed her because she had proven it. On the drive home, Nate asked a question he never asked to pressure me, only to understand. He asked if I thought I would ever talk to my parents again. I said maybe, someday, when I am ready, if I am ever ready. He nodded. He did not argue. He did not tell me I had to forgive them because they were blood. He accepted my answer and moved on. That is what real family does. They accept you. They show up. They do not twist your pain into a joke. They do not throw your wedding invitation in the trash and then act surprised when you are hurt. I'm not the Montgomery daughter anymore. I am Caroline Vance. I'm an architect. I am a wife. I may be a mother someday. I design buildings. I design spaces where people feel safe, where they feel at home, where they feel valued. And I learned to design my life the same way. Careful planning. Strong foundations. Walls that keep out people who do harm. Bella made her choice when she threw my invitation into the recycling bin like it meant nothing. My parents made their choice when they believed her and did not even call me. They chose comfort over truth. They chose the easier story over the honest one. And I chose myself. I chose my husband. I chose the family that actually showed up. I do not regret playing that video at Bella's wedding. I do not regret exposing the truth. I do not regret walking away from people who never valued explained it. Here is what I learned. You cannot force people to love you. You cannot force people to show up. You cannot force people to choose you. But you can choose yourself. You can build a life with people who do show up. You can create your own definition of family. And sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is living well. Being happy. Being surrounded by people who would never throw your wedding invitation into the trash. Bella wanted to be the golden child, the favorite, the one everyone paid attention to. In a way, she got her wish. She just did not understand that attention does not always feel like love. I wanted a family that cared, that showed up, that loved me for who I was. I did not get that from the Montgomerys, but I got it from the Van Cess. And that is enough.